right.
You could have seen my parents running around getting this place like lit up and like, what do you need? Pedestals, books.
That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gender fluid, what LGBT, everything under the sun. Welcome back. This is episode 11 of the Kickback here on Dash Radio. I am your host, Steezus. To my right, we got Mr. John Colombo.
Yo, yo.
We have our regular Dano. He is actually not here with us, but he is here on FaceTime, live from Kansas City, Missouri.
Let's go.
Say hello to the people, Dano.
What's up?
That's a killer view right there. That's a killer view.
That is.
For those that are listening.
Yeah, if you're listening on Dash Radio right now, you can't see it, but he does have a beautiful Kansas City skyline behind him, which is also my hometown, so it's a little near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad that we got you here. And our special guest for the evening, he goes by the name of Chad Little, no relation to Stuart Little. He was once a designer, a footwear designer for Jordan brand. Mr. Little, welcome. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. My man took the hat off, looked like he stuck his finger in an electrical socket.
Mad scientist.
Yeah.
Mad scientist. I love it. I mean, from the size of that fucking sketchbook you got over there, I definitely know you got some formulas in that fucking brain of yours.
One of many.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, where you stay, what you've done, all that.
Okay. My background was growing up as a kid fiending for the sneakers.
Like the rest of us.
I played basketball every day. That's all I really did was just play in the driveway, go to school, play at recess. And the more I got into playing basketball, the more I realized I can't compete with these kids who actually have basketball shoes.
Okay.
So we're talking third grade. I'm starting to look at other people around me who have style, but they can also play because they can stop, and I'm sliding down the recess.
Yeah, right.
And you know, I grew up. We didn't have cable TV, so it was if you got lucky and you saw a game on NBA, NBC or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building my basketball love as I'm starting to see. Clyde Drexler is what I got to see a lot of through my Portland days. I grew up in Southwest Washington, so that's really all we got broadcast, unless it was a nationally televised game. And when I started seeing MJ play, it kind of got me going with, who is this guy and what is going on?
Absolutely, like most of us that grew up in that era. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it started a bit of a bug, and then I started seeing kids at school who were wearing Jordans. And I didn't even know what Jordans were.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw really cool shoes. And to me, I just started walking around with my head down, and my mom would always comment like, "Get your head up, what are you always looking at?" I'm like, everybody's shoes. I just started, for some reason, I got a fascination with what everybody was wearing, and why were they wearing it, and why did that shoe look cooler than that shoe? And I started dissecting it down to really just like seeing Nikes, Adidas, Jordans. They knew what they were doing, just aesthetically.
Yeah.
And at a young age, I started to realize this, and I took it upon myself to say, hey, I want to just keep riding this wave and see where this goes. So I played basketball through high school, through college, and I played a year overseas.
Oh, sick.
But in, I would say about 10th grade,
Difficulties, people. This is a part of it. It's just a kickback.
Yeah, it's the kickback, man.
Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. It is what it is.
All good.
How we doing, Frankie? We good? Marcus giving us okay.
Okay.
So in 10th grade or so, I'm putting a few things together. I got a passion for shoes. I love playing basketball. And I was always drawn and playing on the computer programs that my dad saw me playing with, like the basic paint program when I'm really young, like 4th, 5th grade. And he said, oh, I think I could find some other programs for you. So he puts Photoshop and Illustrator on our computer, and I'm like in 6th grade. This is like the beginning, first versions of these programs.
Yeah.
No idea that those end up becoming like industry standards. So I'm teaching myself how to use these programs, and I'm drawing all my shoes at school on my school assignments. And I'm getting marked down on my assignments because I'm drawing on my assignments, but I'm coming home and I'm already like, this is 1993, 1992, and I'm rendering these shoes up on Photoshop at home just for my own pleasure, just to see what these could look like in a different color.
That's
sort of
insane.
thing.
At such an early age to be doing stuff like that on Photoshop is just almost unheard of.
Right, I didn't know anybody else do it or
Right.
who even knew of these programs. So when I started taken some art classes in high school, just thinking I could expand my horizons beyond what I would be normally taking for classes. And it was then that I had some art teachers who said, you know, you can make a career out of this if you want to find a direction. And so I just started drawing pictures of MJ in shoes in class, and she's like, she pushed me to like keep doing it. And so I saw a potential in maybe a career.
Shout out to that teacher.
Yes, Mrs. Carpenter, thank you very much. I called Nike, and I was about in 10th grade, so this is 1998, 97. I said, hey, I want to design shoes for you guys. I grew up 45 minutes down the road from campus. I knew that sounded like a cool job. I had no idea what that meant to get there. And they told me, hey, we recruit kids out of college programs. Go get your industrial design degree. Here's a list of 6, 7, 8 schools that we recruit kids out of. So I did all my research, found out that those schools were pretty highly specialized, like Arts Center in Pasadena, and out of my parents' price range. But there were some state schools in California that, when I did my research, were like $1,200 a semester. And for those who are looking to get into the industry, great program. I went to San Jose State University just because it was physically the closest location to where I grew up.
Right.
But it was super affordable, and it didn't put me in debt, and I didn't want that feeling going into school that I'm gonna have to work my way out of this.
Work your way out of this hole that you had to fucking.
I want to go out and enjoy what I'm doing. So, I did 2 years of junior college basketball, and then ended up going to Germany to play in Munich. And while I was out there, I had just started the industrial design program now at San Jose State. It's the first thing I did out of college was go to that college. And I got an internship with...
Dano, you okay over there?
Right there, pal?
It's taking off.
God damn. There we go. That's better.
There we go.
You good, bud?
I couldn't hear shit.
Well, all we heard was fucking
I got headphones in
wind.
now.
All right, perfect.
That should help.
Sound like you were a fucking air traffic controller. God damn.
I was plugging in headphones.
All right.
I can hear you way better now. Sorry about that.
No problem. So, I
feel like I'm involved.
He's got a beer, though, I think it looked like. You got a beer in hand? Yeah.
Better than beer, bro.
You
Cheers.
probably got whiskey.
Yeah, it's whiskey.
So, yeah, I got my first take at drawing shoes when I got an internship with Kicks, K1X. At the time,
Yeah, I remember that.
it's like an and-one version of streetwear / basketball.
Right, I remember like JoJo Simmons or something like that. Like Russell or Rev Run's son had like some kind of little thing he was doing with K1X.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When I first got there, funny story. So I just got to San Jose State, and I'm realizing the hustle is going to be real. I'm not the only kid now in school who can draw shoes and like shoes. There was 20 other kids in my class that were probably further ahead than I was. I'm like, all right, I'm a competitor. I'm an athlete. I can change my focus. I don't play basketball anymore. I'm going to focus on this.
Yep.
And I found that I gotta get in the industry because there was kids coming out of school with a degree, but then they weren't finding jobs. So I'm trying to like, okay, how do I just start getting a foot in the door now? It's my first summer. I'm reaching out to every company in the whole world, sending email, hundreds of emails. I didn't receive one response.
Damn.
But I checked my junk email one day, and I see an old email that showed up in my junk folder that was from them. And they said, hey, we'd love to have you out here. We'd like to, change up who comes in. We usually just get locals, but if you're willing to come out here, we'll take you on.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh.
Where were they located?
Munich, Germany.
Shit.
So at the time, I'm thinking this would be an amazing opportunity, but I don't speak German.
Right.
I'm like 22 years old. I don't know the first
You don't
thing
know
that's
a lot
going
about
on.
the world at that point. Like,
I'm this close to just saying thanks, but no thanks. But, I'm just like, whatever. I'll just see where this goes. And I said, I don't speak German. I don't have money to get out there. Is there still anything we can do maybe from me over here? And they said, no, we'll fly you out here. We'll pay for your rent for a place.
damn.
And everybody here speaks English. Like, oh, wow.
Like, all right, that's a
Right,
fucking deal.
yeah. Where do I sign up? Shit.
So first summer internship, I fly out there and I play a season with a team out there. And the first team I ended up playing with, they have a 2 American rule. You can't have more than 2 Americans on a team. True story. They would dominate the leagues too much.
Oh, the old 2 American rule.
So the
It's
people
like
in my
one
office,
black guy per party, but like, but on a whole nother level.
basketball over there is a whole nother story though. It's fun. It's like the soccer kind of energy. Like you go to gyms and there's people on these huge jumps just banging, getting the crowd going. It's like small town energy, but packed into a basketball court and just a different crowd of people cheering. It was cool. Just people coming drunk from the restaurant cheering for teams other than young kids. Like it was just, it was a cool experience. So yeah, I ended up playing for a guy who was American too, so I didn't have to worry about any of that issue as well. Yeah. But the funny stuff, Grand Prix back there.
It's fucking Grand Theft Auto in Kansas City right now. Shit.
I'm waiting for the sirens to come in.
Right?
3, 2.
My first day out there though, it was crazy because nobody picked me up, and so I land in Munich. I have a huge suitcase because I don't know how long I'm gonna stay there, so I end up staying there for about 10 months. So I have a suitcase, 2 suitcases, duffel bag. I get off the plane, no idea what to do now. So I just knew where the kind of location I needed to get to, and this is before a smartphone. You could look up where to go and how to get anywhere.
Right.
And in the airport, no one's ready to help, not speaking English, so it was a struggle.
Damn.
I finally get to the office, pouring down rain, I'm soaked, and I get dropped off by this cab, and it's like still blocks away, so I finally get to the office, and they're like, all right, sorry about that. We had Ron Artest here, so no one could come pick you up because we were busy. I was like, oh, okay. Go clean up. We're going to go out and party right now. I was like, okay, that sounds good. All right. So we go out to this club, and this club is maybe as big as this
There's
office.
the sirens.
Yeah, for this part, I can just watch the shot change.
You do realize your microphone is still on the side of the glass that has the
Oh, is it this microphone now? I thought I had the better microphone.
It's all good.
No, it's better that way. So, first day, get there. We say we're going to party with Ron Artest. We go into this club, maybe houses 200 people.
Okay.
And we get in there, and it's jam-packed, and then we're kind of squeezing to the side. And the bar top, and we're talking a ceiling that's maybe 9 feet. The bar top is halfway up. He says, oh yeah, they're doing a concert here tonight. Okay. So they start passing out drinks. I'm thinking like, okay, like what's going on here? Out of nowhere, Ron Artest jumps up on the bar top.
Oh shit.
Starts getting in his rap game because this is what he was doing at the time when he was at Indiana. And then from behind, here comes Fat Joe and the Terror Squad.
What?
In a 200 max capacity little bar. And I'm just like floored, like this is day one. I said they got Ron Artest, he's standing up, but he's got to stand up like this and rap because the ceiling
Because he's going to hit the ceiling, right.
It's a tiny little place. Then here comes Fat Joe. These guys are just like sitting behind him, just kind of like,
leaning back?
Yeah.
Just leaning back.
Where am I right now? Drink of choice, which was new to me at the time, kind of good too. Apple juice and vodka. That's what they were all drinking.
Apple juice
right?
and
You'd
vodka.
think like I wouldn't try that, but
Doesn't sound like a baller's beverage.
No.
I mean, right?
Not a baller.
No.
Not like your
Maybe
Johnny
that's where-
Appleseed or
That's
something.
where Apple Ciroc was, you know. You never know.
But
no,
yeah,
that's
no.
first night though, huh?
First night, it was an adventure from there on out. Though.
Right. So how did that translate into like actually working in the kitchen and being in Beaverton and like really getting into the design process?
Once that whole stint ended, I came back, got back into school program, and I had to continue to hustle and grind. So I took it. My next step was go again try to shop out internships, but now I have something under my belt. When you reach out to companies, usually they're like, well, we'd like to have someone with some experience. And if you never have experience, how do you get there?
Yep.
So now I had a little bit of experience. I ended up working with Montrail, which was a outdoor kind of hiking, trail running shoe company that was up in Seattle. And so I moved home for summer. My family lived about 2 hours south of Seattle. Made that drive for a while, and then Columbia bought them, and Columbia was in Portland in the Beaverton area.
Columbia was the shit for a hot minute.
So I was going into Columbia offices and doing some presentations for that, and it was a 3-month job. But what it ended up doing is introducing me to someone who became a lifelong figure for me that changed my perception of how I was going to ever get into the bigger industry, which was meeting a podiatrist in the Portland area. And I knew that I could draw shoes, and I knew the culture behind it because I was the kid in line getting shoes and hustling for Jordans.
Already a part of it.
Yep.
And I still didn't think I had enough to what it was going to take to get into Nike because, you know, when your dreams are shattered of not making it to the NBA, the new challenge is like, how do you get into Nike? And that's a harder challenge because like getting into Jordan brand, there's 5 people that design shoes there. In the NBA, there's however many spots. But there's probably a lot less competition out there. But there's still, as I was learning, there's a ton of people that would just go crazy to get into Nike and like, how am I going to squeeze in with all these other cats who have a ton of experience and portfolios, and I'm not even there yet. So I ended up spending a summer with this podiatrist, and all he specialized in was foot and ankle, and he worked with athletes specifically in the Portland area. And they would come in with an injury, knee, hip, back, and the first thing he would do, and I got recommended to him because someone saw that I was designing shoes and I was trying to think outside the box of how everybody was just let's look at a car and draw a shoe based on that car and just worry about the aesthetics.
Conceptualizing from stuff instead of actually like making something that can like enhance your performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And growing up playing basketball, I was also a track athlete my whole life too. So I knew the value of a good pair of shoes compared to the other pair of shoes that didn't.
Right.
And I was the kid that would cut up my shoes sometimes just to break it down and find out, what is Converse React Juice? If you've ever cut up in those shoes, it's clear oil with a yellow colored TPU bag around it. If you ever pop your airbags and you see, I mean, I was like dissecting shoes at a young age to really find out what's going on in these shoes.
Your mom must have loved that.
Oh, no. That's the next story. I can get into that. But finding out what was going on in these shoes, nothing was surprising me or making me think like, wow, these guys went crazy and really thought about my foot or how I'm going to perform. It really came off as gimmicky to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really, at the end of the day, what a lot of shoe companies are doing. They're building stories to market something that looks new and special and innovative. But at the end of the day, is it really helping me perform better?
Speak on it.
I don't know. I'm not going to say either way, but I had my doubts even at a young age that stuff was really doing what they were saying it was doing. Nike Shox being one of them. You're going to put foam pillars on the back of my heel and tell me I'm going to go boing and jump higher. Even though I jump off my toes, and you're going to put pillars on my heel like I jump off my heels. Anyways.
Fucking shock. God damn.
After I worked with this podiatrist, I started seeing what he was doing. It changed my whole mindset because he was seeing an athlete come in and say, hey, my knee hurts. I don't know why, but I heard you're the guy that could fix me. First thing he would do is say, hey, take off your shoes. Let's see your shoes. Let me see your wear pattern. And if he saw that he was striking too hard on his heel and this shoe was wearing differently, he would break down the shoe, really. And he would say, well, you're running on an Air Max shoe. You're this high off the ground when you're striking. Now you're hitting too early and it's hinging here. And if it's not hinging there, you're going to start feeling it in your hip.
That makes so much sense, right.
You're built naturally to run barefoot. That's how our bodies are designed. So when you actually land, you're usually landing flat-footed and coming off. With shoes, you're usually hitting heel first and then rolling into it. And if you're talking about an athlete, and a lot of these guys are like marathon runners, multiply that times 20 miles a day, hitting here, and your body's not designed for that. So he was just like taking shoes to a grinder and just flattening shoes out. He would take a knife and just split the toe box so you could splay your toes out because a lot of shoes just have a narrow toe.
I learned a lot about that too.
That whole thing
and shit,
really just stems from early 1900s and before, that the pointier and longer the toe of your shoe was, the more it showed your wealth. And when shoes got designed generations beyond that, it was just a style point.
They just kept it.
If you went to something that matched your foot shape at that time, you weren't considered wealthy and looked good. So it all derived from the olden days to where we got to like where Nike started in the 70s. Their first models.
That was the first hype. The OG hype.
The OG hype beast had the fucking long toes on their shit because they had the money to fucking afford it.
You see those the Mexican boots? With the I don't know what the value is to those ones in their culture. But yeah, I mean, the original athletic shoes were just derived off of what was going on in the footwear world, and it wasn't helping athletes. It was just style. And to know that, like, Converse started in the 20s, 30s. They had a blueprint for what was working then, so they stuck to it. When Nike started in the 70s, they had to kind of like get into the game of what everybody else was doing at the time and then put their logo on it, and they've advanced since then.
Right.
But what never really advanced was how shoes fit our feet. They make shoes for one shape, and everybody else's feet has to fit into that shape. So anyways, as I'm working with this podiatrist, I'm just really like rethinking like, what am I doing? If I really want to get in the shoe industry, I don't want to be the guy that just draws cool shoes. There's a cool factor to that, and to say like, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, at the end of my days, be known as the guy who just drew some shoe and live my name off of that. I want to solve some problems. I mean,
Absolutely.
in industrial design, that's really all you're trying to do. You're trying to solve problems and build product that has a story and builds off of a problem and a need for it, rather than build something that's just aesthetic.
That looks like a car.
looks like a car.
Yeah, right.
And at the time, when I'm seeing industrial designers draw shoes at the time, it was all based off of aesthetics, and it was like, let's look at a car and see how we draft off those lines. Cool, but if I'm going to a place and my aspirations were always to get to Nike, and like, to me, like that was a place that you could push performance and they would understand it, because that's what they preach. They have the best athletes in the world, and they make these commercials that show me that they're doing anything they can to help you run 1 second faster.
Yep.
So after I started really seeing like, okay, you can break down a shoe in a million different ways, and now I have the advantage on my side of understanding better the biomechanics of the foot and how the athlete's moving, and I'm going to put that in my resume and portfolio along with my design work, and maybe this will get me a little bit closer to foot in the door in the industry.
Smart man.
Yep.
So it started with him about 10 years ago, and he's still one of my best friends.
That's
because
amazing.
his business is helping patients. My business at the time was designing shoes. So we had this great marriage of how can I help you, how can you help me?
A nice synergy for sure.
And he still to this day wants to build some shoes, and he's got a million great ideas, and so do I. It's just, you get involved in your everyday life and paying bills, and there's still a big passion and part of me that wants to do that. But we'll see where that goes one day.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, energy, and resources that go into doing stuff
There's
like that as well.
There's a ton of that, and there's a lot to learn. But just to continue the story of once I got that knowledge from him, Dr. Ray McClanahan, shout out. He taught me to think beyond aesthetics, really. And in doing so, I went back to school, and I started a project. It's a funny story, too. I started a project that was, again, the thought was always, how do you solve a problem? So I'm now in my first semester, my senior year in the industrial design program, and how do you solve a problem for footwear? My first 3 years there, you're taking projects on that they're giving to you, so like design a chair, design a hand drill, whatever it is. It's just product design.
Yep.
And now that I'm in my senior year, they kind of give you the choice to pick a project and run with it. So up until that point, you're taking marketing class, an engineering class, you're taking a bunch of other things to prepare you for when you're getting to your senior level work. You're the boss of your own company, and you're designing a product, and here's how you would market it, here's how it's engineered, here's how you're telling the story, you're drawing it, you're 3D CADing it, you're doing the whole story. They're equipping you with every skill. So my project that I chose for myself my senior year was to design a shoe that solved for a problem. And the problem I was solving for is we use so much energy moving around every day, but we're not capturing it. We can capture it. There's products out there that can do that. So I built this prototype that actually worked, where you had a magnet that would slide within the shoe, kind of underneath your foot, right down the middle, so you would never feel it. And if it's wrapped in the right metallic properties, you can collect energy through a magnet passing through coils. And every time
It really is a mad science.
every time your foot's moving,
What are you talking about?
this is me, the sneaker geek, being able to tell some fun stories.
You can collect energy.
So I pushed the story of like building a story about how there's athletes that are tons of energy output, but we're not collecting it. Why not? And so I had built this whole shoe story around capturing energy, and can you run a wire through a pair of pants that goes up to your pocket? Now you can energize your phone, your iPod, whatever it may be. Or it's collecting into a battery pack, and you're taking that battery pack with you. Now you have a second charge for whatever piece you're having die. And it's all based on the energy you're just putting into it.
Yeah, kind of like how like there's watches that as you move they continue to power themselves. Like
Kinetic
that same
energy.
type of
The technology's out there.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah,
industrial.
Frankie, didn't you see a shoe that had all this shit going on? It was really confusing. It had John, you saw it too. It had way too much going on. It had like, automatic lacing, way too much information taking down, and it just never would have worked. Like, the shoe looks like shit.
So basically what I'm getting to
Chad's
is
gonna
it's
work.
fucking trash.
Great idea, Chad.
No, not Chad. Not Chad.
Let me get back to my story. So yeah, other people agreed with you guys. They thought it was, my professors thought it was trash, and they're like, you're getting into some fashion and some technology you don't even understand because you're not getting either one, and you're mashing two things and you're not doing very well. I ended up getting a D- for my semester on the whole project, and that was my only project. And there was no other buts about it because I was there every day. I was presenting. I wasn't skipping classes or anything. So it came as a big surprise to me at the end of the semester when I hear that feedback and I tried breaking down to the professor. I was like, why? He just thought I didn't get it. I wasn't really focusing on like solving a real world problem and really going deep as I should. And it bugged me. Bugged me enough to where my next step was, again, keep reaching out for more internships. And I got an internship with Pony. It's down in San Diego. And at that time, I was just playing basketball pickup games at San Jose State. And I run into Nick DePaula and Alex Wing, who were just playing pickup ball at San Jose State.
Yeah.
And got to know them, and they're like, oh yeah, you draw shoes, you have shoes? So we just started initially playing basketball, and we started talking shoes, and I realized you guys run this cool new sneaker
Soul
magazine,
Collector.
Soul Collector. We can vibe off of this. And Alex lived in the Bay Area at the time, so we became friends up there, and then he's got a crazy sneaker collection that I would just drool over. And it was Alex who actually got me my real foot in the door, because at the time Pony was trying to revamp the brand. This is like 2007 or so. And the idea was that they're trying to revamp, but the problem was it was the bad time of the economy. So long story short, I got in because Alex gave me the opportunity when they reached out to him, because they trusted his opinion, and said, hey, we need a hot new designer from school with fresh young eyes on building us newer, modern, cool product. And so he suggested me. It initially started as an internship, and I worked under Kyle Poley, who just came from Adidas, and he was doing the Garnets and the Gills and all the Adidas basketball stuff at the time. So it was me and him really as the only footwear designer. So I worked there for like 2.5 years after that, and got to build baseball cleats, football cleats, basketball shoes, lifestyle. But there was no one else there that designed. So the huge learning curve for me was I got to design the point of purchase displays for the stores. I got to design the sales catalog.
You
So like
design everything.
Everything, yeah.
Graphic designs, the color, the material, the development side of it. And that to me was the only way I really learned how the industry was working, because there was no one else there doing the work. It was us hustling to try to bring new stuff around at price point stuff, because that's what Pony was known for at the time, was like $60 shoes that kind of looked like a Nike, but we're gonna offer it to you for $20 less. And instead of the fine swoosh, we're gonna give you a big blocky chevron. But we had, that brand had so much cachet, and Reggie Jackson, Muhammad Ali, and all these athletes in the 80s, 70s, 90s that were wearing stuff, and then it just died. No one took care of it. So the CEO at the time bought the brand up, and we gave it a run for a while, but it never panned out. But the huge learning curve for me was getting a foot in the industry, learning every aspect of the shoe design and design world and everything it took to get in there. And fast forward to when I actually got to Nike, you don't do that much stuff because there's so many people that specialize
have
in
one
every one of
specific
those
thing that they
categories.
work
And they've got
on,
teams of people that just do color, just do material. And I'm coming in there like, well, I want to do the color, I want to do the
I want to
material.
do it all. Yeah, that's what I'm used to.
When I first got to Jordan Brand 6 years ago, you were responsible for a lot of that. There was someone there that could guide you if you were looking for new materials and colors, but essentially I was the one building the story and the process and everything into it. By the time I left, there was a color design team, a materials design team, a graphic design team. So really you're just like showing the vision of what the design could be, and you get it kind of massaged to the right point, and then you have to hand it off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they hand it off, and then they hand it off. And then by the time you see it again, you're like, what happened?
It is nothing like
Completely
what you
bastardized.
initially, what you initially presented
The
to them.
story never really came
Damn.
Going back to the original story, I just remembered the project at San Jose State. So when I'm at Jordan Brand, I get an opportunity to go work in the innovation kitchen because I'm working my ass off at Jordan Brand and finding that I'm not fully fulfilled in my creative juices because I had all these ideas of how to push footwear in a newer, exciting way that was just going to benefit the athlete. Aesthetics aside, how can we make you faster, make you jump higher and all that good stuff? I'd show some concepts around, and at Jordan, it wasn't about that as a focus so much. At the end of the day, it's about the dollars.
Right.
Their performance is great, but it wasn't the highest of focus for what I was thinking it could be. And there wasn't any other people in there that really visualized what I was thinking as I drew some concepts up. And so I got suggested to go to the Innovation Kitchen and show someone some stuff. That person sent me to the head of all Nike Innovation, and I showed him this stuff, and he was like, yes, this is the sort of thinking we need here because you get footwear design, you get the foot, you get everything that encompasses what we try to do in the Innovation Kitchen. So he literally goes to a desk, clears it aside, says, this is your new desk. Whenever you don't have work at Jordan Brand, I don't want to get you in trouble over there, this is where you're working from now on. And he instantly just pulls a duffel bag out and says, here's what we're doing here, here's what we're doing here, here's what we're thinking in 5 years from now, and just like fully encompassed me in everything that they were jumping into.
Holy shit.
And so my mind's like going, okay,
Yeah.
like.
I got the chills.
And the greatest part about it all, so I grew up geeking on the guys who were making it happen in the 80s and 90s. And so like when that first Kicks magazine came out from Slam, and they had stories on Tinker, they had a story on Aaron Cooper, and they had a story on Eric Avar. And I was, that's me, like that's what really set me into like, I want to be like these guys.
Right.
These guys are making cool shit. They're getting stories written on them for drawing shoes, which is what I do every day. Like you can become cool and famous and work with Michael Jordan. Like, okay, I get it now. So I always
that focus, yeah. You want to be like, you want to be known for being that cool guy that designed the shit that Michael Jordan's wearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I got to Nike, you didn't see those guys.
Yeah.
You're in your own world when you join a category, whether it's basketball or Nike running or Jordan Brand. It's all on campus, you're all one team, but you just get in your own world and you don't ever see those guys. They were in the Innovation Kitchen doing their own thing. The Innovation Kitchen was me and hand building, off limits doors. You couldn't just like walk in and go connect with these guys.
Right.
So I always thought it'd be cool to connect with those guys, never really had the opportunity. And then when I got this opportunity and he said, here's your desk, it was at the head of the Innovation Kitchen. So there's all the workers, all the designers, and then there's the engineering machinery back there to get shit done. Mm-hmm. At the front of the class, Tinker's at the very front, number one.
Of course.
Then it's Avar right next to him, and Mark Smith and Cooper. And my desk was right in the middle of that circle.
Holy shit.
So you can imagine that I was like hustling as hard as I could to get Jordan work done.
Uh-huh.
Because part of me was like, this is my paycheck and this is what I still have passion for, but this is really what I want to be doing. And people at Jordan Brand knew this is like where my truer passion was lying, was what they were doing. So to get that opportunity was amazing. And the stuff that I was working on, amazing. Stuff I can't really talk about,
of course,
but super cool stuff that they were going forward with for the next 5-10 years and the focuses that they're doing. And to have that opportunity to work with those guys in that mix, it got my juices flowing again, because at Jordan Brand, it was like, let's quickly get out a design so we can hit this marketing time, hit this brief time. In the Innovation Kitchen, there's no marketing briefs of someone telling you what to do to make money. It's let's think about the athlete, let's think about what the new tech is going to be.
Think about how to change the footwear game like from a whole new level.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
And that's exactly what I was like hoping to ever do there. But you don't just get to go work in the Innovation Kitchen.
Right.
You gotta be
called upon.
Avar, Cooper, Tinker.
Yeah.
You gotta almost graduate into those spots. And then they started building teams where, like Nike basketball has 1 or 2 designers that work just in the kitchen, just on thinking next level, so that when they come up with a new tech, whether it's like a foam or fly wire, they can pass that on to the design team at Nike basketball, and then they work together to build what that's gonna look like.
Right.
But Jordan Brand never had that. We never really had a tech guy or an Innovation Kitchen guy pushing stuff for us. And we had one guy in the last few years that I was working there. Just nothing never new came our way, because if any new tech came out of the kitchen, Nike is taking it. It was never like we just came up with this really cool technology, Jordan Brand, you want to know, it was like Nike's going to put this in running first, then basketball's to take it the following season, and then if the factories will allow us and we have space for it, maybe next year you like.
It
that's
might
always,
trickle down. You might get some residual fucking
Yeah. So that was part of where I was just like learning just the whole process of how things work there, and it was never about how do you make Jordan Brand the newest, coolest tech shoe for the highest performance athlete. Nike had that focus. Jordan Brand was, there's so much cool factor in what a retro was, and I know that that's not what they wanted to lose. Like they wanted some of that value and everything they were doing. I get that, but the unfortunate part is when you're trying to build what's the next cool thing, I don't want to be thinking about what they did in 1989.
Exactly.
So there's always a slight disconnect for me because I bled Jordan for most of my childhood and collecting the shoes and drawing the shoes in all my school assignments. And then you want to create the next generation of stuff, and then you kind of just like, there's always a constant battle of like.
It's an uphill battle against like going against tradition, and we got to hit these numbers, and we want to make it.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up though, because we just saw that the Flyknit Air Jordan 1 is releasing not too long. I don't know what the exact day is, but they're dropping it in the bread colorway. And I think that kind of goes to what you're saying of holding on to tradition.
Traditional colorways.
The traditional colorway, bringing in this tech that's not really new tech anymore. Like Flyknit's been around for years now.
That's exactly what I was saying.
But exactly, the
We didn't get
final
it till 3
trickle
years
down,
later.
like
Right. Now they're slapping it on Jordan.
Yeah, were you around in the the process when Flyknit was beginning to kind of make a name, and did you ever try and get it incorporated? Yeah, so we got it pulled up. Did you ever try and get it incorporated in a different way that didn't follow like the traditional standards, or was it just kind of like right out the gate, like let's just do it this way?
Yeah, so when it came to us with finally we have the opportunity to use these machines because there's capacity or they bought more machinery at the factory levels to do these things. Now we finally can do it. I have no say into what that would involve, and to me, if you're trying to push a new tech, which was a fresh thing for Jordan because we didn't often get it, how do you push that in a new silhouette, a new performance thing, and make kids look at Jordan in a new way rather than old leather shoes? So it kind of bugs me that like, okay, we're getting this cool new tech, but then we're gonna go back to 1985 and do a retro Jordan shoe. And as the purist in me, I don't know. At the time, I didn't see like, we could do better is kind of the way I thought, but I'm here to satisfy what the needs are and what I'm asked to do. So it was a fun project because most of the time you're designing shoes.
So you worked on this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say that I designed this because I'll never say I designed this, but I was the one that did this, I guess. I don't know how you want to explain that.
I didn't do
Humble
this.
brag. I mean, I didn't design
This is just one of our topics for the week.
Yeah, I didn't design this, but I did this. Like, however you want to,
That's a cool new avenue, though, because the usual process is you're getting asked by a marketing team what the need is, you're getting a price point, you're getting certain prescriptive details that they want in the shoe, and then you're creating a story based on however you do it, whether you're drawing or going right to 3D. You got to present them the idea of what you think is going to be cool and relevant based on what their needs are. With this project,
a year or two from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like 18 months.
You're always trying to be ahead of the
Forecast
game
everything.
because we're 18 months behind from when we put pen to paper to when the shoes actually hit in the store. So it's a constant battle of trying to understand.
But from a marketing perspective, even though this isn't necessarily what I want to see, from a marketing perspective, this is what makes sense. And I'm sure that there are 30 guys standing in that department telling you that this is what makes sense because this is what's relatable.
That's what they know. And
Like
like,
colorway wise.
exactly. And they see
Traditional.
they see sales that our best shoes right now, let's say it was an Air Jordan 1 black red. Oh, how do we capitalize on that?
Yeah,
because that's what kids are
exactly.
buying
'Cause
right
that's
now.
what's the hot shit right now.
Let's make
See,
a more available version.
Yeah. My thing is like, okay, I get from that perspective, I totally understand it. So it's like you do a classic like this, but then if you want to go and release a multicolored Flyknit after this, people are going to look at it different. It's not going to have that same clout as this would, which is, it's a gift and a curse, but I feel like if you do something like this with Flyknit technology and you're introducing it in a new way, like you should try and do something different. Try and elevate it, try and be like more creative instead of just sticking to the tried and true, because we can get this in the regular leather. They did the KO version. Now they're doing it's not like
And it waters down the value of
exactly.
that
It
shoe.
doesn't hold the same weight, in my opinion. It doesn't hold the same weight anymore.
Exactly. And that's why, like, for me, like, I pushed, how do we make this newer and different? Like, you're already handcuffed with, it's the AJ1.
Mm-hmm.
So what you don't see on this is that midsole, it appears to be rubber. So I don't know what they ended up doing, but the way it was designed, that's all foam. So when you pick the shoe up off the shelf, you're expecting the weight of the
heavy.
rubber.
Yeah.
But the fly knit versus leather and the foam and everything that comes in a normal AJ1 versus what that weight of the upper is, combined with all rubber tooling versus an all foam tooling.
Right.
It was crazy when you actually started picking up some of these samples and you'd be like, oh, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you're
something's
throwing shit
missing.
around.
Yeah.
It's like those fly knit dunks that I just got.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's
wasn't.
exactly what I just started thinking about. Was that material that's used on your dunks?
It's just straight
It's
foam, like the
super
whole
light.
outsole, midsole, the whole
And it's
entire
all
sole.
cushion.
Yeah.
All one piece and all one piece of foam.
That definitely looks rubberized.
It does
for
look
sure.
rubberized.
The other one
Yeah, I
that's
would
the
hope that
fucking.
it's lightweight and super soft like your dunks. If it's not, then you have that resistance.
And then
that
you're
lightweight upper and that stiff midsole.
Yeah.
and you're just bastardizing more stuff.
Yeah,
Like
there's
to me,
one
like how do
midsole
you?
That's super uncomfortable, like one midsole.
That's why
Like,
I'm
that's
trying to
no
create
update.
new. What's
Yeah.
new for if we're gonna do an AJ1, you're gonna give me a chance to design something new. Let's run with a few things.
I think it's.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's the foam actually, because. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong, but the way I'm looking at the dunk right now, and the sole does appear to be like slightly different than what that would look like.
because
Yeah.
of like foam properties, you don't get the precision. Of
Yeah.
what a
Yeah, because
rubber-
if they
what a
did
rubber
that
mold
to
can
the
do.
Flyknit Air Force One, it would be a piece of shit. Like it would be that super lightweight upper with that brick midsole. It wouldn't work. But they updated that whole thing and made it that new ultra foam.
But there's even more
And
ways.
that's why it worked for me.
Yeah.
Like you can push to like put more foam in there and core out the rubber. So like that was to me like what you'll never see on this is like what I was trying to do to shave ounces and make the shoe
Yep.
newer and different. And even when it came to like the upper, the
Now,
process,
didn't they do that to the deconstructed too?
I don't-
The midsole seemed to be lighter and more comfortable.
It's definitely a little bit lighter than
Is
a
it?
normal tube.
That would make
midsole
sense.
for
That
sure.
that was another project I worked on that was pretty fun in trying to push that envelope. That'll be the next story, I guess. But with this, it was fun because you weren't like putting pen to the paper. There's no point to redraw the shoe and tell them
Yeah,
what
you already
texture.
know.
So you're
Yeah.
you're looking at what these machines could do because they had these knit machines on campus in Beaverton. So you could go right up to the engineer, look at some textures, look at some patterns. And so really the whole process of what I took with this was the biggest or the highest overlay, like you see in that close-up picture right there, that and the piece around the heel and the ankle was the biggest lofted knit pieces that I wanted. So
Right.
you had some really big texture.
Makes
The
sense.
pieces that were the furthest underlay, like the toe vamp in red, I wanted that to be open and breathable and flat. So you kind of got the same read of depth
Yeah.
that an Air Jordan 1 would have.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And then it's like, how do you keep some classic Jordan leather detail? So it was keep the swoosh, and then even the wings logo, I didn't like how it actually went one color. I was actually trying to do the deboss, emboss wings logo, and then add the color on top. So from a distance, it would look exactly like an AJ1, but it wasn't until you got up close to it that you realized all these really cool
These
details. And then
different
when you went
details.
one color on the logo, to me,
That
I was
is
just like,
sick.
I'm not sure
And
why,
on the-
but
and on
whatever.
the tongue, too.
But the tongue, like, that was another thing. I pushed
Looks
to
like
have
the
this.
liner as well.
I had this huge blown out tongue that was thick ribbed and just tall, and like it gave it like a stance like a high end luxury brand would take on our
Yeah.
shoes. Like, how do you pop this tongue in a newer, bigger way? The Nike Air logo went from this big to this big just to play with like some proportions and just make it
Yeah.
new and different. Everything just keeps like
And
every
it
round
just,
just gets
as you
scaled
passed
down.
it off, everything just kind of got fucking like smaller and smaller.
But they did keep the liner, which looks good.
Yeah.
On the inside, it's like a
Goat leather is what we were sampling it in. It's
Holy
just
shit.
buttery, soft,
yeah.
and then like
I
take
love the way the tongue looks.
the tongue was actually still looks pretty good. You should have seen some of the previous rounds were just crazy cool, but that's just my perspective.
Yeah, cool. I mean, when you design it, it's almost like your baby. When you,
It is.
Like, you know,
That's
you
why I
get going
like it.
into it. Like,
When the
Yeah.
things get changed and it gets some market, like, oh, what happened?
yeah.
I just want to let the listeners and the viewers know that this wasn't planned. This is part of how we normally just go through some different topics of current shit. It wasn't planned that we picked something that you actually worked on.
That's funny.
Yeah, now the timing of how this all just happened, for sure.
There's some nice details on the inside that you don't see, and I don't know if people had pictures of that, but it was like taking the factory coating that was usually just
Show 'em,
stamped
Jack.
inside, and I was trying to do a gold gold print inside to show the factory like updated coating. Oh, then there's like that little logo just to show like the spool that was spitting out from 1985 in gold. Oh, good. So they did keep some of those details. But the comfort on that stuff is crazy because the rib tongue hugs around your foot. The knit feels so good on some of those shoes. So I actually would like to see how they fit with what they did. I just don't know what they did with that bottom.
I got to plug out and see if I get you a pair.
he knows the guy.
I look forward to seeing what happens.
John, I already signed up for a pair. But
Did you?
what size are you, Chad?
12.
All right, we're good.
Oh, yeah. You guys were the same size now.
No, 11 and a half. 11 and a half.
And
No,
Danny's
most
ever
of the
growing
time.
foot.
Your big ass foot is a 12 in all shoes now. Don't try and fucking flip it.
Yeah, no
Because you're going to
back-
buy another. You bought an 11 and a
I'm
half
not
in the Jordan
comfortable
2,
with
and
it.
I told you not to do that shit.
I'm
and
not
now you can't
comfortable with
fucking
it
wear
yet.
it.
I'm going to keep buying the wrong pair. I'm in denial, Steezus.
All right, man. Now, what does it feel like, though? Because I know we briefly talked, off air about a lot of, your designs going into it, things that you wanted to implement into new shoes or to past silhouettes and all that. And a lot of it happened to fall by the wayside because it didn't align with, the money and the way that they wanted to present it to hit these certain, dollar signs and all that. What is, does that happen a lot? Because as consumers, we really think like Jordan Brand could be doing so much more, and why aren't the designers doing this? And we don't get the inside perspective. So kind of touch on that. Like, is it as easy as we as consumers believe it is, or do you go through the same frustrations that we have to?
Always frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you're saying, you put your heart and soul into what you think is right. And I'm not waiting for someone to tell me what's cool. I'm going to go see what kids are wearing, what they're talking about.
Of course, yeah.
I want to connect with
You're on
these
the
guys.
ground level, yeah.
And so when you start pitching some ideas and some thoughts and how the initial samples could look, you always just get questions if it's different because they can't compare it to anything. And that's really, to me, like part of the struggle of I could show you hundreds and thousands of designs that I was working on that you guys as sneakerheads have a completely different perspective than maybe some of the guys that were leading projects or I would work with there. And you guys might say, wow, why aren't you guys doing this? Why didn't you guys ever do that? It all comes down to who makes decisions there. I'm not making decisions.
Crazy, man.
And there's only 5 footwear designers doing the work, but there's 20, 30 people that make calls that are above you. So at the end of the day, we're just doing the work that's asked from us. But it was always tough because, we were still sneakerheads, and we'd go to work and we'd look at sneaker news and look at what the comments are on some new stuff, and we'd just be like, oh man, we're just getting eaten up.
Yeah.
But
and it's not by your choice. You just had to fucking do what the higher ups told you to do.
And so a lot of it would grind on you because you're like, God, they're bashing on us, but if they only saw what the previous sample looked like or how this whole thing started, they would get it, or why that turned to that, and like lots of frustration, which is like why I ended up getting an Innovation Kitchen. I tried making that work as much as I could, but like that whole thing ended with my mom had passed away, and then I had major knee surgery in like 1 week, and I had to take a leave of absence from work for a while, came back and just didn't have the juices for it anymore. And we had a kid, and when there's a kid involved and you're working long days, we just called time out on life, and now we're down here in California because we have family down here and reset life. But yeah.
That's quite the experience. Well, back to something that you designed during your time there, the Dornbecker 8, which is highly coveted. What was the process?
You did those?
Yeah. What are those?
Those are some of the best ones ever.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah.
When you really think about
Hell
it, like when it comes to Dornbecker Jordans, like for me, obviously the top is the Dornbecker 3. That was the first one I ever got my hands on, where it was like I didn't have to fucking go through resellers. I was able to get it. Dornbecker 6s were incredible, but the Dornbecker 8, like, what was the process? And did you work directly with the kid that was going through
so
the
best project
program?
I probably ever worked on there because, go ahead.
We have 10 minutes left on
Okay.
our dash thing, so I just want to give you a heads up so
Let me run through this.
we don't close out your story in the middle of it.
I didn't have to take direction from anybody. It was, hey, we're going to do the Jordan 8. Here's the kid that got chosen out of this Dornbecker Hospital program.
Yes.
Work with him. So I gave him a side view of the shoe, lateral view, and he just gets to color and have fun with it. And
Go back to that other photo, Jack, real quick.
what I got to start the project was
Yeah.
his
This is
coloring,
amazing.
and then you get a little info about the kid and like, you know, what his troubled past was about and what makes him tick today. And so really what I took from all this info was like, I want you to have happiness in your everyday life going forward because of what you just went through.
Absolutely.
How can I bring that into a shoe? And to have that opportunity was cool because I see you've got an imagination. You put the word brave and rock on and all this. And so what I found out from his bio was a few things was, hey, my favorite days are when I get to play outside all day, and then I get to sit under the stars at night and just be with friends and family all day, and you know, and that's it. And my family, that's all I want. And I'm like, you're on a mature level
Yeah,
for a
absolutely.
10-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
So the whole story was, I saw he had blue. So there's your blue sunny day. The TPU heel counterparts were all inspired off of wearing your sunglasses outside all day and wanting to play in the sun. And so I had this picture. I think there's a picture on the computer that shows like some of the inspiration images that I had. But some of the details that I got to run with was that, and then to be able to sit behind a fire at the end of the night and look at the stars. So all the white splatter glows in the dark, so you could sit and look underneath the stars. And then like the details that gotta like take it over the top was when you look at the underside of the straps, those are his brothers' names. One of his brothers also going through cancer at the same time, so that's why the yellow ribbon is on the back. It actually wasn't for Caden, it was for his brother. Crazy that what he had to go through, and just to be able to help put his thumbprint literally on the medial side. There's a thumbprint that I swirled around. I drew a bunch of ink on the table. I said, put your thumb in that. Let me get like at least a bit of it. And then I twisted up, say the center of your universe where it twists. This is this is your best day.
That's so awesome.
But knowing Jordan fiends want to see like different details on a shoe, they just want to see the Jordan 8 in different colors.
Yeah.
That's why we took like the word believe is on the strap. Putting the TPU in a clear so we could bring his colored graphics out through that TPU. He drew a picture of this flaming basketball that I just had to put on the bottom of the shoe and just go all icy on the bottom, which I don't think a Jordan 8 had done up until that point. The 14 on the tongue obviously was cool because that was his basketball number, and we connected on a great level because I grew up a basketball player. I wore 14 because that was the day I was born on, and my initials are CL, which are his initials. So he's got the CL.
So it was literally written in the stars. Like there's no coincidence that this was a project for you.
It was perfect.
No
and then
joke.
you can see in his drawing that there was a picture of a boom box, and you see the little woven label on the inside of the shoe. Cause it's like you gotta put that in there. Come on, man.
See this? Put it up to the laptop.
Yeah, got you.
This is amazing, man.
It looks so good.
It's really amazing.
And then even like the tongue logo.
Danny, you
so
did
badass.
those?
The Jordan 8 I thought was always cool because it had that chenille patch on the tongue. And another one of the things he told us was he loved to go out to the yard and collect snakes. I was like, how do we bring that to life somehow? So the right
Because that's some
shoe
weird shit.
has the snake head.
We tried doing the snake head in chenille, and it was so funny. The first samples came back, it looked like the snake had an afro because the snake has.
Because
And we all kind of laughed at it. I was like, all right, we can't do this. But it was like, the Dornbecker program was like, you get like 1 or 2 rounds of samples and we got to go. So it wasn't like we could mess around with all these. So I was like, let's just go to a woven label, which to me it wasn't as cool as the chenille patch, but it was a little cleaner than the way the execution of the chenille patch was going.
It translates incredibly,
Thank you.
So much detail.
Even like
so
you see the
much.
spray paint bottle on
Yeah.
I was actually going to
You
ask
have
about
the
that.
first translucent soles on an Air Jordan 8.
Jordan 8.
I think.
That's fucking
so.
awesome.
I'm pretty positive
Yeah, I don't. When else has it happened since?
I don't even think I've seen it since then actually.
That's what I mean. Like I think you have the only one.
What was the symbolism with the spray can?
I don't know if it was on his
sketches on that page, but he had a few other pages where he loved this graffiti font, and it was just the font that he was attracted to, and like just the graffiti style.
Yeah.
So when I talked to him like, why you like that? He's like, I just like it. You know, my whole job is to make you be happy when you see the shoe. So some of the let's see, any of these graphics.
That's a good job description.
The rock on you can see is done in that kind of graffiti style.
Yeah.
And so is the Brave.
Yeah. And that
Which is funny because if you didn't tell the story of the Starry Night and all that before, you would think it was like paint splatters. If you just didn't know the shoe and you just kind of picked it up, so that's dope.
I didn't know that it was glow in the dark like that.
Yeah, it's cool because you sit the kid down in a materials library and it's like let him like, oh,
Just
that's
go to
cool, that's
town.
kind of nice. and you get that picture and
The
you get some
materials
info.
library.
And then it was on me to like say, hey, here, and this is what I presented to him. Here's your day. Sunglasses wearing outside all day in the sun, and then I rendered it up in the dark at night, glowing under the stars, and say like, this is your perfect day. Let this remind you. This is where your happiness needs to be going forward.
Dude, this is fucking incredible, man.
I mean, the fun part at Jordan Brand was being able to tell stories too. So when you get to do that, I just wish sometimes these would go bigger because I think it helps sell the product. And a lot of times, even if it was just a basic like team basketball shoe, our task was always like put a story into it. Otherwise, you're just drawing.
It's funny that you say that because we've talked about that on this show before, where we really think that there needs to be better storytelling, and shoes that don't necessarily get clout that need it because they are incredible shoes. They do have an incredible story as to why certain materials are meshed with these materials or why this design element is included, and the storytelling just doesn't get told.
I hope you guys do that.
There's
guys-
not many
like,
places that you get to actually, for you to receive the story though. Also, like,
I'm telling you,
there's sometimes a little something on the box, or maybe there used
Like,
to be a card,
yeah.
but like
But that needs to go into the marketing when these things happen. Like this whole like sketch that you have, and like somebody sitting there with you two in the kitchen and talking about what's.
Imagine if this was the tissue paper. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Straight up,
you unwrap the story.
Yeah.
Like how ill that would be.
but that's what sells people on products. Like you want to be invested in why you're buying it rather than the hype around it or the resale value. And to me, like if you can tell the stories, and it was always this case, even if we were happy with the product when it got released, you'd still see it show up on Sneaker News and whatever, and it would just be like the money shot of it on a playground, and then it would describe this as Zoom Air and blank, 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 and you're like, they didn't tell the story. Like, had they told why we did this and why this ankle leash is here, and like, and showed the previous storytelling into it, me as a consumer, I would have died and seen all that stuff, and I would have been hyped to go buy that shoe.
Exactly. Just like you're telling us this right now, like years after this shoe release, we're still like, that's fucking incredible.
So I hope that, like, that's why I love working with you guys, because you guys are trying to put out the content that isn't like everybody else is doing.
Absolutely.
You guys are going to create the stories that need to be told, and for consumers to get it and to see the value in a lot of the product that people don't understand. That although this project took just like a month or two, the projects that start from ground zero is just like you're investing 4 or 6 months of your life into something.
Right.
And then when it comes out and there's just one simple photo, and then you're like, and it's not selling. It's just like this could have been done so much
It's like
better.
it takes a piece of your soul because you put so much into it. You know? Fuck, man.
Thank you for the compliment.
Nike, Jordan Brand, I don't even know what. Fuck with us. Like, let us tell those stories for you because y'all are not doing your job properly. We just got more information in less than 5 minutes about this shoe than you put out on the blogs. I'm just saying.
Love it.
Nah, this is dope, man. Like, seriously, like, this is the information that I appreciate, not only as a consumer, but as somebody that likes stories and just like to hear the background of things, because it's a shoe, it's a Jordan 8, we know about the 8, we know about the straps and all that, but when you take an individual through the Dornbecker project and they have to like put their life story into the shoe, and it's your job to like make that come to life, like those things need
The
to
DNA
be like,
in the shoe is crazy.
And that right
Literally
there,
the DNA,
that's the moment.
yes.
That's the payoff. When you see him, that's when he unboxed the first pair of samples at the photo shoot. To see him
He was
light
glowing.
up and just, Mom, you see, like that's such a great feeling moment. to
That's
see
crazy.
that happen.
That's crazy.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Let me tell one more quick fun story then on this whole thing.
Well, actually, let me cut you off really quick because we're going to have to end this here on Dash Radio. We have hit our 60-minute marker. But if you would like to keep the conversation going with us, hit us up, youtube.com/snkrINC. You can watch the visual component, and you can continue this story with us. So, Dash Radio, I'm your boy, Jesus Christ, John Colombo, Dano, Mr. Chad Little. We are signing out. We will see you here next week. Be easy. Peace out.
It's been real, Dash Radio. It's been real.
No, but yeah, let's get into that story though, because I really
Let's
want
keep
like,
talking,
this is.
I don't know.
Dude.
I was gonna tell it for everybody else here, but
Please, no, absolutely, because we put them there for a reason. So.
Okay, so I was starting at Jordan Brand and wearing everything I had. I collected this stuff before I worked there, so I had every Jordan imaginable. And so I'm wearing all the cool stuff in there, and then I'm realizing that people there didn't really have as much appreciation for it as I did. I was probably just the biggest geek there when it came to Jordan stuff. And so I found that like I'm sitting behind a desk all day and people aren't even really seeing my feet.
And I'm sitting here with hot, sweaty feet and these clunky old Jordans. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna start wearing some Chucks because Nike owned Converse at the time. We can go to the outlet store and get Chucks for like $10. I can beat these things up. They're a lot more breathable and lighter. And so I was just like, I didn't want to wear what everybody else was wearing on campus, which was like go get some Air Maxes at the employee store. So I was just trying to like, Jordan, okay, let me just go get some Chucks. And what ended up happening is people started calling me out at the office, like, you're the Jordan guy, and now you're wearing Converse? Okay. Okay. So I took it upon myself to go into the innovation kitchen that I had access when I had access to it. And I'm a vintage collector of clothes, hats, jerseys, just sportswear in general, military stuff. And I saw the beauty of an old military bag and how it fatigues and how the canvas can wear on the edges and just how that beauty comes out versus just a brand new piece of material. And I thought, why don't I start putting these two together? I love wearing Chucks. I love Jordans. Why don't we marry these two a little bit? So I had them build the sample to be...
Go ahead and grab it, yeah.
It's actually lighter and more comfortable than a Chuck because usually you put a heel counter, and that's all just for aesthetics so that it holds the stiffness and look of the shoes so when it keeps its shape. I built this so that it had nothing in it but a dissected military bag that I had that was just beautifully worn. And when you pack these things into a bag, like how flat that packs because there's no heel counter. The most comfortable Jordans by far that I own. And it was all built off of a need, which is exactly what we drive all this back from. It was, to me, like we need a little bit lighter weight, comfortable, retro Jordan shoe. And what ended up happening was, I know for this to like get through, it was cool to me. I had it handmade there in the kitchen, so I used like the copper rivets that would have gone from that army bag just to go with the story. It's all about storytelling there.
Dude.
So the storytelling that I went with was MJ's brother had just retired from the Army. This is like 3 years ago. And I was to say, why don't we just make this cool military-inspired AJ1. We'll send them a pair. We'll maybe make a few pairs. But the idea that I pushed to them was, instead of bastardizing all the retro product that gets released all the time and re-released, why don't we build something new and different that's a little more wearable every day, and you're not asking the kid to drop $200 on a shoe that's going to be stiff and unbreathable and clunky. It's going to be lightweight, and this is canvas. You can make a canvas shoe like Chuck's
for pennies on
for
the dollar.
$50 and still make a huge profit on it. And so that's what I was trying to pitch them, was like, why don't we just not bastardize the white, red, black Jordan? We'll do just like color floods, simple colors, simple materials, and now you can shelf the white, red, blacks and the amazing colorways and not have to release them every week.
And let them regain their value a little bit.
Let them regain some more need again, because
bit.
no one needs it anymore, because you can get access to every retro shoe. And when you're younger, it was like a once a year thing that you fiended for when the floors are going to come out next year. And now it's like every weekend, so who cares? So I was like, if you shelf some of that stuff, you can regain some of that value back. You're going to offer them a shoe at $75 even, and it's going to be cheap, it's going to be wearable, all this good stuff. And that was about the time when I was leaving. And then I see when it comes to market, they did AJ1, 2, I think, and they added a heel counter, and then they added it to like 140. And I was like,
160.
I was like, it defeated the whole purpose of me being that hardcore Jordan head and trying to build them new business and do it in a cool, meaningful way. And then I see it come out at a high price, and I get it. They're just trying to hit numbers. That's what the business is all about, making money. But
you brought those?
For me, it was like, it kind of was like, man.
You fucked up, Jay Leno.
Damn.
Of many stories I could tell. I was just
I mean, I can only imagine being there and
this is so dope. I wish I had a pair of these.
I have another.
That's the thing, is like, this is something that I could see so many fucking kids and adults alike walking around in, and it would replace a lot of people's Chucks, because something like this, like, you want to still have that steez of a Jordan 1, but it's so lightweight and just, you can, like you said, you can fold, it's just a midsole, like midsole and outsole, like everything else is.
No.
So this is just
one of one?
Yeah. Wow. Handmade in the kitchen. There was no even any tags or labels in there. Actually, I have one other pair that I did. So this is the pair I did just so I could say, hey, I want to wear these, make sure they fit right and feel good. The second pair I had made, I had a black.
These look a little small for you, Chad.
Well, so what happens is, I wear 11.5 to a 12. But when you wear an 11.5 to 12, that's with all the foam that goes in the shoe.
Exactly. That's why when you wear Chucks, you go down like a full size and a half.
So I knew that. So when I was at the factory once, I said, hey, can I get some of these toolings in a size 11, not a size 12, knowing that that's probably what's going to fit. And it ended up being the case, because shoes are, in my opinion, just terribly built altogether.
You would know.
Yeah. This is part of what I'm trying to change in this world of shoes, but it never really happened. And now I work for Mitchell & Ness, where I'm doing completely different
A
stuff.
whole different world, yeah.
But it's fun to talk shoes
Yeah,
with
what
you
are you
guys.
wearing right now, by the way? I can't see the full shoe.
What's that?
What are you wearing right now? I can't
Oh.
see your full shoe.
They're original 1980 Nike Tennis. But I had them custom done. There's a color designer at Jordan Brand who was custom painting shoes. So I took the actual font that PEs would have had for that day and put my boy's name on the back of them, Rocky Little.
Wow.
So when people
Nice,
actually see
dude.
these, because they're slightly yellowed canvas, they're original shoes, but it looks like they would have been a PE from the day. I always like to wear shit that people are like, what are those and where do you get those and where can I find those?
Yeah.
I like being that mystery man.
Hell
So
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff
Dude,
that I like to
That's
do.
dope.
that's incredible, man. It's all about access, too. You got the access and you can kind of do what you want, and that's...
But it had like a Carolina
beautiful.
blue swoosh and heel tab, but the tongue logo was black. So it was like, I wanted to rather make these more wearable every day and just do a black swoosh. But then I was like, I might as well customize these a little bit.
You the man.
I don't ever paint
That's
or customize
beautiful.
shoes, but sometimes when you want to tell cool, fun stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, I can only
Dope.
imagine the amount of stories and just the things that you have in that mind of yours.
Well, we could talk all day.
Yeah, literally.
We didn't even go through this.
No, yeah, we didn't even get a chance to go through the book, man. That means you have to come back.
Yeah,
now.
you're gonna have to come back, dude.
Yeah, you have to revisit.
I can do
Yep.
that. I can do
Hell
that.
yeah.
Come to our new location.
I'm in Long Beach. I'm not far.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that. Last week we said we would be in our new spot. It is
We lied.
Construction has taken a little bit longer than we had anticipated. But if things go accordingly, we will be in our new spot next week. So make sure to check for that. We'll have a whole new set, whole new location. Dano will be back. He won't be in Kansas City any longer. Are you going to stay for the eclipse?
No, dude, all flights on any airlines are completely sold out.
Damn.
Like, I can't even pay like $1,000 to stay.
Wow.
Like, no, I'm not gonna see the solar eclipse. I'm not gonna be in the totality. I'm not happy about it. It's fine. Like, I'm moving on.
Okay, I'm sore subject.
Yeah.
I apologize for
I'll
bringing that up.
I'll be back Sunday night.
I'm gonna stream it.
I'm gonna stream it.
Oh,
I don't
man.
even want to go outside and look at it. I'm just like,
Well, we won't be able to see it in Los Angeles, so
We can't?
No,
No.
we're not in the
No.
path of totality.
the path
You'll
of
see some. You'll
totality.
see some
It
weak
literally,
shit, but
like-
it won't be like.
We don't
this
even
where
get a little bit
it'll
of it?
literally go night.
No, it's like
middle of the
Northern
day.
California that only like
Yeah,
barely
it's like
gets
Oregon through the middle United
Yeah.
States is really
Yeah,
best
yeah.
that. Like
path.
Kansas City, I think St. Louis is like right on the path.
This is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your thumb in front of it, it'll be alright.
Yeah. Well, fuck
Stick
it.
your thumb in front of it and close your eyes.
That's what
Oh,
she said.
Maybe.
Why did she say that?
I don't know. That's why.
That's why there was a
I'm
question mark in
confused. I
the
feel
end.
like maybe she says that.
Oh man, Chad, tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs if they were to look for you.
Yeah, so I just started a website and Instagram page, which is really just me trying to sell some vintage stuff.
No, don't tell
that-
anybody about that. Don't tell anybody about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What, you
Keep
don't-
it
Yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah,
You
don't
gonna buy
tell anybody
something?
about
Let
that.
this man make this paper. Chill.
Okay, go. God damn it.
When we lived in Oregon, I had a lot more space. That's another photo I should have had you guys post up of just like a quick look at
We
like.
might have to just throw it up sometime.
I had a tool shed in my backyard in Oregon that had over 1,000 pairs of shoes on one side, and then it had racks that went from one end to the other of just all the vintage sportswear that I've collected. When you move to Southern California, you don't have the same amount of space for the same amount of money.
You most definitely don't.
So we finally found a place that was about as big as we could afford in Long Beach area, just to be right next to family. But my garage is completely stuffed and converted to housing.
So now
and
you're
stuff.
slanging.
Man,
So at the point of life where I'm at now, I need to move some product to make some space because
been there.
yeah.
Yep.
So anyways, Dr. Funks, DoctorFunks.com is the website, and I'm just selling the vintage stuff right now, and it's just in the beginning stages. It just started. I've got maybe a couple hundred pieces on there with a couple thousand pieces to go when I
Yeah.
get free time.
When you can
to-
put them up, yeah.
It's been a fun learning process because when I was out of work from Nike, it allowed me the time to realize how to build a website. I made it look like you're actually walking in this boutique. It's just really,
Clever.
That's
I
Very
made
clever.
my own neon sign with your little booth to stand behind with the old Nike posters lit up and
I'd
an old
shop
TV
there.
set.
That's
So
lit.
I designed everything that you see here, and like this is all product that I have. So, for instance, like
a Seahawks jacket, and then right above it there's an iPad that shows, like, if you want to click on that, this tells you a little bit more of the story of where this came from or why it's cool. For a kid that's like getting into what this world would be, this is my idea of what a cool vintage boutique would be.
Storytelling. Like
Seems like the Ward almost. I don't
So
know.
yeah, and this is just like a pictures, and there's a polo section. There's basketball jersey section. This is all, so I do my own photography.
This is all your personal collection
Personal
as well.
collection, my photography. I built my own website. This is all new to me. That's some of my artwork. That's my first day of 4th grade, and I finally hustled to get my first pair of Jordans. And that was my reaction that I felt when I walked on the school bus for the first day. And my mom had a Norman Rockwell book in our house, so I was always inspired by his work.
Yeah.
Of just like the emotion you would see on a kid when he got an ice cream cone or something, and I always loved his work. So some of these are just cropped characters from Norman Rockwell, but those are my skinny legs made skinnier with the baggy socks. The youth Jordan 6 Carmines, which I still have to this day, which are beat to shit. And it was just trying to tell that story of, like, it was a Portland art show that I got asked to do a piece for. So even the framing of it was the Jordan 6 box, the matte black with the gray on the inside part of it with the splatter.
Oh, shit. I didn't even notice that.
And it was that oh shit moment of like, oh, and that
are those?
that was my changing moment of why I even got in this whole industry, because I realized what kids had. I wanted that. When I saw that they were $50, $60 and not $20 my parents were buying, I had to hustle to make $40. And in 4th grade, $40 is like $4,000.
Yep.
So I worked a whole summer, and now I learned a work ethic. And the payoff was, like, now these cool kids were talking to me at school and they want to play basketball with me.
Now
So
you're
it just
breaking necks.
changes everything about it. So this is a fun part of just like being able to do artwork on the side when I get a chance. So this is just like a mixed media. It was some of my own painting, it was some of my photography, it's some cropped Photoshop work, but I sell canvas prints on the website too if you guys are interested.
Hey, plug yourself,
that.
player.
I like
Yeah,
that.
for
And
real.
go to the top right, you can see the Jordan. Go to the top right, scroll down, and go to the showcase section, which I just started some of this. There's a few cool pictures in here. Just some Portland stuff that I grabbed. There's a few other hockey pieces I did. Keep scrolling. That was an old sand knit set that I just sold actually.
Ooh, those are hard.
Right, some I think handball shoes.
Handball shoes.
So below this, there's the Jordan 6s that I had. That I still have to this day. And my mom threw away 3 times. Holes on the bottom, the toes. My toes were literally coming through the front because
poking out the top.
I did not want to give these up. So I was wearing them into 4th grade, 5th grade, and I was like, because I wasn't getting another pair of Jordans for a long time after
Right.
that. I had to wear the shit out of those things, but they still live in my house to this day.
That's sick.
Damn. Well, yeah, guys, make sure you hit up drfunks.com. Is it Dr. Funks on Instagram as well?
Instagram is Dr. Funk's Gallery because the word didn't exist. So Dr. Funk's Gallery is the web or the Instagram page, and the whole name came from an eBay name that I started 15 years ago. Remember the Vince Carter Nike commercials, Dr. Funk?
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for an eBay name at the time, and I liked that commercial. And Dr. Funk didn't exist, but Dr. Funk's existed. So when you try finding a website name today, it's even harder to find a
Of
new
course,
original name. So
yeah.
I'll just go to that old eBay name and just start it from here.
Amazing.
That was a military jacket that I pieced together. Some more stuff I'm gonna start doing on my own, but that's a dissection of a bunch of pieces and just the Dr. Romanelli world of like piecing some vintage together that I'm gonna start getting into a little bit more.
Something tells me with the resurgence of all this vintage stuff, you're gonna make a
think you're onto
penny.
something.
Yeah.
Something,
I
I
think
hope.
you might have something here.
Good. I just need more time to do it.
Hey, man. Don't we all?
Thanks for coming around, man.
Yeah, thanks. Seriously.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
We
Appreciate it.
like legitimately, we need to get you back here, man. Just because that book alone could be its own
That's its
episode.
own episode.
Like, yeah, straight up.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, enjoy flipping through that, everybody.
Oh, we already did.
I
Don't
already
worry.
did,
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
We already had fun.
Fuck you, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you just make sure you enjoy some Kansas City barbecue for me. That's
I
what you
will.
need to
Yeah,
worry
Gates
about.
is first day on the list tomorrow.
Yeah, because you went to fucking Winstead's first today.
Dude, it was on my way in from the airport.
No excuses.
All the hate for a burger.
Yeah. Hate. Now, Daniel, you enjoy your time in Kansas City. Have fun. Say hello to the
Thank
folks
you.
for us.
Will do.
Chad, seriously, thank you so much for coming
Thank
by.
you.
man.
I love
This has
talking this
been-
stuff with you
Hell
guys.
yeah.
This has been
a
dope.
lot of
You
fun.
enlightened us. You really let us know as consumers that you deal with the same frustrations we do with Jordan Brand. So,
Thank you, bro.
Jordan Brand, balls in your court. For Dano, for John Colombo, for Chad Little, and Jack, our producer, I'm Jesus Christ. We will see you guys here next week. And once again, peace out.
Peace out.
Is that our thing now?
That's my thing.
No, it's totally a thing now. Yeah.
Sick.
Hell yeah. You need to cut it.
All right.
So.